22.
Hamtaro Ham Heartbreak. Rickard, at least hear me out.
Oh, I hated that show.
Now, before you all comment on what a weirdo I am, and Rickard's already done this, so you can shut up and just let me talk for this one.
Go on.
Hamtaro Ham Heartbreak was a release in 2003 and is actually the third game in a series, though it was the only game I ever played. For those of you who don't know who or what Hamtaro is, I'll take a brief moment off topic here to let you in on, because you need a bit of knowledge. Hamtaro is a Japanese anime based on a manga series by Ritsuko Kawai. It involves the adventures of a little hamster under the care of a 10-year-old girl. That's pretty much it. The hamsters go on adventures and stuff, but this series has proved to be a big seller to young audiences and had a recent 2011 re-release in Japan. It's currently unknown if the US will reintroduce this, but I know they did run the original series, and it was also met with pretty popular reception. Appeal?
It was on Toonami between Dragon Ball Z and some other show.
Yes. So, for any of you wondering, Dragon Ball Z was followed by hamsters on adventures. I'm glad I could ruin the awesomeness of Dragon Ball Z for you. Now I have this hilarious image of, like, Super
hamsters
Saiyan.
going Super Saiyan, yeah.
Yeah. Now, as for the game, Hamtaro Ham Heartbreak, this game involves a devil hamster called Spat, who goes around causing trouble and ruining the love of hamsters everywhere. As Hamtaro, you team up with his love interest from the show, Biju, to save all the hamsters from Spat and his mischief and restore the broken relationships.
Oh no, broken hamster relationships. How will the world cope?
Your goals are to defeat Spat, to restore the broken relationships, some of which can involve some pretty long processes or really difficult to figure out the solutions to, because I played the game again so that I could feel justified putting it on the list. It was actually good, and some of them were a little difficult to figure out. I mean, admittedly, it's still a kid's game, but still, you had to be a little clever. And to learn all the ham chats, which are words that are linked to actions Hamtaro and Biju can perform, some of which are essential for restoring the broken relationships. And by some, I pretty much mean all.
Koosh.
Aside from that, there are also items you need to get to advance the story as well. Now that's not as bad, but there were some times I got so stuck. Now, if you've seen this game, and I'm giving you details and saying it's a good game, why is it last on the list? Well, to be honest, it's mainly because it's a kid game. I felt it did deserve a spot, because I played that game, and the moment I started doing this list, I remembered this game. I did not forget about this game. It was in the back of my mind, and I went, oh yeah, I played Hamtaro Ham Heartbreak. That was actually a good game. However, like I said, there are some really bad parts. There was one time, I think this probably happened to everyone, but there's this part, there's 2 or 3 parts in the story where you are literally given no clue what you're supposed to do. You talk to every single person, you do every single action you know how to do, and you can't figure it out. You don't know what to do. And it turns out, this is the stupidest thing ever. It turns out the solution was you had to save your game and turn off the game, turn it back on, and then Hamtaro and Biju would re-enter the clubhouse, and then it would trigger the scene, which was weird. I don't know, maybe that was just a glitch that I got or something, but it only happened when I restarted, not when I actually went to the clubhouse normally, because I had gone everywhere, done everything. And some of these the broken relationships are almost impossible to figure out. Most of the time it requires you to go search for new ham chats, then go all the way back to check to see if that's what you needed to repair the relationship. Though to be fair, when I played it again, it was a lot easier to figure them out. Maybe because I remembered, maybe because I'm adult now, but I'd say for kids, sometimes that's going to be a little annoying. It's also, unfortunately, very repetitive. All you do is try to stop Spat. Most of the time he gets away, and then you search for ham chats and try to repair the relationships. Then you go to the next area and repeat the entire process.
Because hamster love is the most purest of love, and you need to save it.
But that did cause its rating to suffer as well. But the unique style of the game, as well as the cutesy hamsters dancing around and saving love as we know it, I think deserves the number 22 spot.
Number 21.
Dragon Ball Z Supersonic Warriors. So, for any of you who immediately turned your TV off after Dragon Ball Z was over, and were worried that I would forget about Dragon Ball Z because I put Hamtaro on the list, well, here's Dragon Ball Z Supersonic Warriors. If anybody's wondering, yes, I've watched Dragon Ball. I watched Dragon Ball Z, and even Dragon Ball GT.
Oh, you did more watching than even I did. I could not stomach that.
It wasn't too bad. It was just boring. I've also heard of all the ones that are out on consoles. And I'll tell you right now, the last one I played was on, like, PS2. I think it was, like, Budokai Tenkaichi 2 or something. I'm really not a big fighting game player. Mainly because I suck. And most fighters these days focus mainly on putting you online against other players who are going to kick your ass and air juggle you for hours. And I'm just like, I can press a button. See? That's what I can do. That's it. Yeah, I can't do those combos because you require me to go too fast.
Yeah, when the Dragon Ball Z fighting games have usually not been that bad, and in fact, when it got into Tenkaichi, that's when I figured that's when the gameplay got the most fun.
I mean,
but
occasionally,
the 2D fighters I've never really enjoyed.
I mean, occasionally I pick up fighting games and check out the stories for myself, and occasionally I even manage to win a fight or two if I'm lucky and the computer doesn't cheat. Okay, in Blaze Blue, I once got juggled on easy mode. Oh yeah, that's definitely for beginners. Thanks, Hazama. Anyway. For those unprivileged few who don't know, who live under a bigger rock than I do, I'll let you in on Dragon Ball Z. Dragon Ball is an anime series following the release of its manga counterparts by author Akira Toriyama, who you may also recognize from his work on the Dragon Quest games.
And Blue Dragon, can't forget that.
True enough.
And also Chrono Trigger.
Also true. The manga was all under the name Dragon Ball in Japan. It lasted 42 volumes, telling the adventures of a young boy Goku and his journeys as he grows into an adult and gains allies and enemies. The anime has two portions split between Goku's younger years through his fight with the villainous Piccolo, and then his learning of his true origins through the finale against Majin Buu. It's widely considered, at least from everything I've seen, heard, and read, to be one of the best manga and anime around. And if you like fighting, I can guarantee you'll like it, so go find it or buy it or watch it or something. But don't watch Dragon Ball Z Kai. Dragon Ball Z Kai sucks. I mean it. Go original or go broke. Even with the long-ass power-up sequences, the original is better.
He doesn't really like Kai.
It's stupid. Anyway, back to the game. Dragon Ball Z Supersonic Warriors was released by Arc System Works and Bandai Atari in NA in June of 2004. NA, North America, you get it.
Yes.
It was popular enough to be followed by a sequel, which I never played because it was on the DS, and by the time I got one, that game vanished off the map. Either it didn't sell well, or it sold too well, and they just said, fuck it, we're taking our money and running. But anyway, So why is this game on the list at all? Because, I mean, there were probably better fighting games, and like I said, I'm not a great fighting game player, so why would I put it on the list? Well, this was the only fighting game I played on my Game Boy Advance. It was fun, and the fighting system was one I was actually able to grasp, along with those special moves and the big attacks, which works differently depending on where you were positioned, as most of the time you were flying through the air. This was also the first game I had ever played with a tag team mode, where you could fight with up to 3 characters against another 3.
Oh, I like those.
Yeah, I don't even know why, but a lot of fighters these days can't seem to do that. I mean, I don't even play fighters, and I know that's a problem. Like, BlazBlue doesn't do it, though I think that's more for a reason, because they have, like, a much more involved story. But I know, like, a lot of the fighting games haven't done tag team lately, and it's like, why? Anyway, that's actually one of the few games I've played with other people where we've had the 3-on-3 fights. So, I mean, it was pretty fun. I got my ass kicked, but it was fun. I'm sure everyone had their favorite teams. I myself enjoyed having Krillin, Teen Gohan, Super Saiyan 2, and Piccolo against the myriad of villains from the franchise, mostly like Frieza, Cell, and Majin Buu. And I have to say, Majin Buu was a cheating fucking hack. But, to be fair, so was Teen Gohan. Plus, it was always nice to see Krillin win a fight for a change when I actually did win. Actually, in that game, Krillin was so broken. His Destructo Disc costed very little. I think it costed less than, like, most other skills. And it did, like, more damage.
Well, yeah, it is the Destructo Disc.
Why doesn't that ever work in the show? Anyway, I'll admit it wasn't the most polished game, but I know I clocked like a lot of hours onto it just when I would do small fights in between classes in high school. And I never felt like the game was being intentionally mean or killing me to be a jerk like fighters do these days. I actually felt like it was just because, really, you did that? That was kind of stupid. Or, huh, you should have used this button instead. Whereas most fighters these days is like, you have to press this, 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 and this to block this specific action. What? I just... Anyway, that's why I put Dragon Ball Z Supersonic Warriors as number 21.